Hello, everyone, and welcome out to The Good, the Bad, and the Geeky, a podcast where I sit down with some of my friends in the local Columbus, Ohio theater and improv scene and talk a bunch of geeky stuff. Some of it good, some of it bad, and all of it, oh yeah, you know it, most definitely geeky. If you enjoy our program, be sure to subscribe to our show on Apple Podcasts and to leave a review. Our official sponsor of the show is Audible, with over 200,000 titles to choose from. Get one audiobook and 2 Audible originals each month included with your trial, and even after your trial ends. You own your library. You also get easy exchanges. So if you don't love a book, don't worry. Swap it for free anytime. That's audibletrial.com/goodbadgeeky. That's audibletrial.com/goodbadgeeky. Evan and Saker are going through the entire Bare Naked Ladies catalog in one song at a time. In their weekly show, it's called, wait for it, It's All Been Done, a Bare Naked Ladies podcast. And now they've reached the big album, Stunt. Yeah, the one that contains 1 week. So you're definitely going to want to get in now. Though we do recommend starting their zany podcast from the beginning for theories on vampires, nursing homes, and more as they talk through the first 3 records. Check out all the programming at iabdpresents.com. In this episode, well, it's a more of a unique episode than our normal episodes here where we talk about a TV show, a series, or an episode, or a movie, or even an album or a song, whatever. And that we're talking to one of the many talented writers of MadLab's Young Writers 2019 program. Founded in 2011, MadLab's Young Writers Short Play Festival is designed to give local high school playwrights a professional theatrical experience. Students submit 10-minute plays, and the best are chosen to be developed and produced. Each student is given the opportunity to attend specialized workshops, collaborate with local and national mentor playwrights during the 6 months that they are in the program. And at the end of the program, the plays are performed at MadLab as full-scale short plays. Last time, we spoke to the Motel Room author, Liam Browning. This time, we speak to Jude Clayton. And also present is local mentor Stephen Woosley, a.k.a. Woos. If you'd like to hear more of Woos, by the way, check him out on his other podcasts, Opposing Roles and The Mafia Minute. I will say, though, possible language. I know for Opposing Roles, there's definitely some language there, so be aware of that. I hope you check out the shows. There are 2 nights each with different sets of programming. The performances are Fridays and Saturdays between July 12th to July 27th, with 2 Sunday matinees at 3 p.m. Every Friday is one set, every Saturday is another set, and I think the 2 Sundays, one of them is the Friday show, the second Sunday is the Saturday show. For more information on tickets and on the show itself, please visit MadLab on the web at madlab.net. And I also just want to say that this is the last of my Young Writers 2019 interviews, and as someone who loves the craft of shaping a story and telling it, though I kind of suck at the prose part, it was an absolute treasure to talk to Kara, Liam, and finally in this episode, Jude. And for those who know me, it was difficult. Now, let me explain. Not having kids or being around kids all the time, I tend to be a rather jovial, but if not blue individual, dropping expletive deletives all over the place. So if you're having listened to past episodes of GBG, understand how hard it is for me to act like a decent, non-cussy human being. It's surprisingly hard, and you can probably tell in all the interviews, sometimes my delays are trying to censor myself and not say something, just say F-bombs, because that's I throw it in my normal speech. So keep that in mind if you're listening to this episode. Past episodes, they can be rather explicit, so apologies in advance. But with that said, though, in all 3 cases, all 3 of these kids were amazing to sit down, to talk to, have a bit of chat with. Cuss words be darned. See what I did there? I will also say that as someone who is a geek, I mean, the show is called The Good, the Bad, and the Geeky, you know that I love new media, and even if I get a little bit grumpy like Grandpa Simpson at it, and I learned a lot of cool things that have piqued my interest. Like, for example, Kara introduced me to a new musical, Liam introduced me to a song I didn't know by Ricky Nelson, and in this episode, Jude introduces me to a few different things, and like the other 2, I'm all the better for it. I'll also throw out there, too, for the record, before we began recording, Jude noted how not nervous he was, but that he might not be able to contribute much outside of writing. And here's the thing. The kid's geeky in his own way, just like Liam and Kara were. And again, it's called The Good, the Bad, and the Geeky for a reason. And it was so much fun to talk to and geek out with him as it was to geek out with Liam and Kara. I hope you enjoyed my chat with Jude Clayton. the last of the writers I'm interviewing for the 2019 Young Writers at MadLab. Again, for more information on that show and to attend, to get tickets, madlab.net. All right, enough of me blabbering. Will, roll 'em.
Hi, my name's Jude.
Jude wrote, if I'm correct, Play It Cool.
Yeah.
Now, because I was there, but some of the names don't always gel with me, what was the synopsis of Play It Cool, real quick?
Well, it's basically two girls go on a date, but one of them is being sabotaged by their friend.
Okay, I remember that one now. Okay, yeah. Man. So, again, I'm always blown away by how good all of them are, because I was at the first reading, and so you get to hear all of them, and there are a lot of deep, fun, funny, but dramatic, and some of it's just very subtle stuff that goes into that. And that's why I was like, wow, yeah. So, is this the first short you've ever written that is being performed, or just in general, or?
This is the first short play I've ever written that's being performed. I wrote a short story once, and it was nice, but I like plays more. There's a different format. It's very nice.
So, what do you like more about the format of short plays versus like the short story?
Well, short plays, I feel like you write the thing, but then you let other people take the wheel, and that's something that I have trouble with a lot. I'm a bit of a control freak, but being able to just like do it and then let it go is actually kind of liberating, like once you actually do it.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
So a lot of people who are afraid to fly, that's the first thing that like some people will tell you is like learn how to fly. Because it's a control issue, and then that's the one thing. I'm scared to death of flying, but that's always a thing, especially with writing, is control of what you're writing, control of those characters, control of the situations. So, with that being said, how involved were you? Did you 100% let go when they started casting everything or whatever? Because they invite you guys to be a part of that as much as you want. So were you like involved on some level, or did you just go, nope, I need to let go of this and let it be birthed into the world? Because I'm done. I wrote. Now it's up to... Well,
I didn't completely let go. Like, I'm going to as many rehearsals as I can. There's one today at this time, but I was like, I'd rather come do this for sure.
Well, thank you.
Yay, thank you for having me.
Of course. This is awesome.
For the first rehearsal, I was told by the co-directors, you need to stop talking, let them decide, let them do their thing. And I was like, yeah, okay, that's fair. Sorry guys. But everyone who is participating is really nice, and I'm optimistic.
Do they ever turn to you though and then ask, like, I mean, especially the past few ones where after they said that to you, have they still ever then turned back and was like, what did you mean by this, or what were you looking for in this? Do they still do that, or? Oh yeah, sometimes
especially the girl who plays Skylar, she's doing an amazing job, especially since she's only 14. She's very young, but she's very amazing.
Oh wow, awesome. So what stuff do you normally gravitate towards as a writer? Like, do you always do a particular type of genre? Do you just do anything and everything you can think of? I mean, I take it you've written more than just a short story and a short play. Yeah. You probably write all the time.
I love to write. I don't really do genres. I just kind of take moments from my life and kind of twist them around, because I learned how to do writing stuff in art therapy, and that's just kind of what I did anyway. But I usually take a moment from my life, whether it be funny or like tragic, and just kind of turn it into something.
Okay.
Which is cathartic.
Yeah. No, yeah, totally. Writing, yeah, because then, now do you find joy and kind of, for you, is it almost a little bit of wish fulfillment? Or do you sit there and go, it's wish fulfillment up to a point, and then you go, no, the realism of the situation is this is how it would actually transpire? Or, you know what I mean? So it's you being used as a jumping off point. It's still cathartic to help you work through it, but at some point, is it pure wish fulfillment, or does it go, no, that's not necessarily, you add some realism to it? Because we've all, I think, written something before. We're like, oh, this is how I wish it would have went, because I would have actually said this then, because I would have been the funny, witty guy.
Yeah.
And you're just like, nope, you're the idiot that just sat there and said nothing.
Well, I'm like, it depends on the story. Like, for Play It Cool, it's for Play It Cool, Charles is the character that I'm inspired by. He's the saboteur. And so, honestly, it's just like I'm taking aspects of myself that I don't like and kind of idolizing those instead of the good ones, which was really different because I was like, yeah, I was kind of being silly in that situation. So it turned into a comedy.
Okay.
I'm working on like a longer play.
Oh, wow.
It's like about my friend, my old friend and I. And it's, again, about the negative aspects of me, but it's not as funny. Because for me, like, teenage love, it's always just a little bit of a fond memory. Like, it's always just, it happened or it didn't. But
I'm going to go with you and say, no, it's not. Because I still have some emotional baggage, man. I'm not kidding. When I grew up, like I had this one girl that she, what's so weird is that I became friends with her again years later. And this is after she had kids and a husband. And there's still a part of me that's like, oh, but I love her. And it's like, no, you don't. You love the idea of her. That's a very different thing.
Yeah.
And but you don't ever really get over that. So when I watch like The Edge of 17 or all these other teen movies, no matter if they're from John Hughes in the 80s or even now, I just go, oh man, I love these movies because I feel them so, like 8th Grade was horrifying. Have you seen 8th Grade?
No.
Oh, it's a good movie, but it's directed by the comedian, written and directed by Bo Burnham.
Oh, I love Bo Burnham.
He is really good, and it's not about deconstructing anything, because some of his stand-up is about how can I deconstruct this and be funny, and he does a great job of this. This is like a straightforward, I think it's kind of stuff that he went through growing up, because he got started as a YouTube star.
Yeah.
Right when YouTube was kicking, and back in 2005. I'm not old. Yeah.
I was like 3 years old.
Oh no. There's nothing wrong with that, by the way. It's just that I'm very. Anyway, I just remember so he grew up with that, and this girl, especially in the age of social media, where it's not just YouTube, it's Snapchat and Instagram. She's going through stuff, and it's probably Bo going through stuff, but then he put it into the guise of this girl, and I mean, it's so. If you watch it, like your heart breaks, and it's like not even 10 minutes into the movie. Like,
I kind of like doing that sort of stuff too.
See, yeah, that's awesome.
But if I'm going to put myself into a character like that much, like all of me, it's got to be something funny, and it's got to have a little bit of fantasy.
Sure. Now, fantasy as in like. To be clear, because in today's we need to be like Game of Thrones fantasy. I figure you meant just like fiction, not like dragons are going to swoop in and.
I'm writing a story about a character based off me and one of my best friends.
Sure.
And we did a thing one day where we went to the ravine and like we yelled at a bunch of like rich people because we're. We do things like that a lot, and we like cast a spell upon the land, and we were like, "This land is going to birth our child. We're both going to be the parents." And I turned it into a story, except the child just turned out all sorts of messed up.
Okay, now that's because I feel man, I kind of want to read that.
It's like I described it as Ponyo, but a little gayer. That's like my title for it.
Oh, so I've only seen like the trailers of that, and maybe like the first 10 minutes. That's the anime film, right, by Miyazaki.
Yeah.
Or it's Miyazaki. See, thank you. Yes, that one.
Studio Ghibli.
Ghibli, baby.
Studio.
It's a studio. Miyazaki's involved. That's all you need to know.
Really amazing movies across the board.
Oh yeah.
I always watch Spirited Away on New Year's.
Oh my gosh, that movie terrified me, and I was like 20 years old when that came out, and that movie was just like, this is eerie stuff. Well, weird aside, I'm a huge Godzilla fan, so like I don't know a lot, but I know a little bit of Japanese culture, and I know the idea of Shinto. Well, and also I was a Ninja Turtle fan, so like when you read the comic books, they get into the religion aspect of how, even though they don't necessarily practice over there anymore, they do in different ways. Like, so the Shinto, which is that weird, you guys at home can't see me, but it looks like the pi signal, but the lines at the bottom that are holding up the top part are like curved, and that's like an altar / like portal that the dead come through so they can visit the spirits and guide people that are at the really crazy stuff. I kind
of remember that when I watched the one episode of Inuyasha that I watched.
Inuyasha, man, I haven't seen it. That's the one where like all the girls like him, right? Or no. Is that?
You just described every anime.
That's
you
true.
Described literally every anime.
Well, so when I grew up, anime was just Akira, And then right on the scene was Dragon Ball Z. So Toonami kind of made anime, I think, well, here's the thing. People who love the anime loved anime, but it's kind of like my view of like people hate The Big Bang Theory, but like back then, right before that show came out, it wasn't still cool to be a geek.
Yeah.
It was, and then when that happened, like everyone was like, "Hey, being geeky's awesome," and then they started hating the show, which now, whatever. But I find that to be a very unique thing. And same thing with anime. The anime fans were just like, "Yeah." There's a great webcomic, by the way, if you've never read it. It's by Casey Green. Mm-hmm. He did the dog. It's like, "This is fine. I'm fine with the event."
Oh yeah, I love that dog, like in the fire.
Yeah. So he did a series. You be careful. You probably need to talk to your parents first. It's a little mature, but it's called Anime Club, and there are these. It's like a typical nerd geek, which is like, no, I don't like that. Yeah, that's not real anime. You know, Dragon Ball Z is whatever. Yeah,
I don't get that. Like, let people enjoy things. I'm not from Japan. I don't know. It comes on the TV. I watch it with my eyeballs. I don't.
See, yeah, exactly. But that's what they're making fun of, and because it's not just with anime fans, but like, so Toonami made it really popular, in that he was kind of pointing out, like, you know, there are some people that are just super like, that's not anime. And it's like, no, it is. It's all anime. And if you like, there's another image, Kyle, that posts every once in a while, and I love it, which is if someone starts, you know, getting down on something social media, she's like, shh, let people enjoy things.
Oh, yeah,
that one. I love that meme because it's so accurate. It's like, well, Game of Thrones ended the day after or day before we recorded this, and a lot of people, whatever they feel, it's just like for the people who liked it, there's always that one person who's like, I hate Game of Thrones, I don't watch it. And it's like, shh, let us enjoy things.
Like, I won't watch it because I feel like I'm like a baby, like on my inside. I feel like it would kill me, maybe, like literally.
It's not. As an adult, I'm going to tell you, it is kind of soul sucking. And
like I watch Orange Is the New Black on occasion.
Oh my gosh!
I watch one episode a month, and then I'll like cry my eyes out, and I can't come back to it because I'm like, that was emotionally
What season are you in?
I'm on like after the riot.
Oh, you after the riot? I can't do after the. I'm not there yet.
One episode, and I was like, okay, I need to take a break. Like we need to.
Right.
I just like divorced Orange Is the New Black. I was like, we need a break because like you're so good, your characters are so amazing and developed, your actresses
it's
are
dark
wonderful,
right
phenomenal.
now. Like it's not.
We need a break.
Yeah. See, I'm with you 100% because a certain person got elected into the office that was really stressful, and so I couldn't watch House of Cards and Orange Is the New Black. They were all just at that moment where you're just like, oh no, that one character, like in the riot. And it's like, how are they going to get out of that?
Yeah.
And then when it came back, I was just like, my wife's like, let's watch it. I'm like,
we need to take a break first.
I need to take a break. I need to watch comedies or something.
Yeah, because I need to learn how to meditate before I come
I'm
back
with you.
to that.
I'm with you. Like, I think around that same time I gave up on Walking Dead, and the only show that I had that was that kind of intense was Game of Thrones. And even then I'm just like, but I know going in, like, everything is always going to be depressing.
Yeah, like I need comfort after. I need someone to be, I'm like, I need.
Right, like Orange Is the New Black, there's like constant, glimmers of hope, and you're just like, oh, okay.
And then it just gets ripped away.
And then it gets ripped away again. You're like, I can't deal with that.
Ugh.
Yeah. So you don't focus on any one genre of anything, which is really cool. Is there anything that makes you nervous about writing? Like when you, like, say you're writing something, you're like, oh, I feel this is uncharted territory for me. And then you like maybe just leave it.
Yes. When I'm writing really intense things that are like straight from my life and very emotional. Because I'll be like, oh, no, I don't know if anyone else is going to know what's happening. I need, like, an unbiased opinion on this scene or something. Like in the one I'm writing about my friend. So the story is basically about my friend. I'm going to call him John for this, apparently. He had cancer. Well, he has cancer. He's in remission, though.
Oh, that's good for your friend.
He's very manipulative. So
okay.
On occasion where it's like, I don't like you, but you have cancer, and you also are very unstable. So if I'm like, I don't want to be your friend anymore, are you going to like fly off the handle? What's going to happen? And it was rough. It was very difficult, and I'm trying to like write that out so I stop thinking it up here. It's so, because I'm like, are people going to think I'm a bad person? I mean, but at the same time, it's like, if people do, that's okay. I mean, that's an interpretation of a story.
That's an interesting
like, everyone
viewpoint to
has
come from, too.
Facets of why they do what they do. So, like, writing very, like, psychologically deep things. I don't like using the term deep because, like, oh, man, that's deep. But like psychologically deep things. Or
I like to
things
use the word. I think I said it earlier. I said deep, but subtle is a good.
Yeah. Oh,
way.
yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah,
Subtle.
please do. I don't have many good moments because I'm actually, if it hasn't happened yet, which it hasn't, it will happen at some point. I will not know what to say, or I'll mess up the word really bad. It's a reoccurring joke on this show. Please take that word subtle. It's the one good thing I've done with vocabulary.
Take it and I'll run with it.
Yes. So years later, at the Academy Awards or Nobel Prize for writing, you'll be like, and thank you for Nick Arganbright for that very subtle help with vocabulary. I'm like, yay!
Oh yeah, when I write something and get it published, I'm definitely like, I got like a list of people I gotta like dedicate things to. First is my godmom.
Cool.
Her name's Anya. She's helped me so much, and then it's probably gonna be you guys. It's gonna be great.
Thank you. I feel kind of bad for saying that as a joke earlier.
No,
now I'm just like genuinely touched. Thank you so much. But I will say this: the guys at MadLab, Woos is here, by the way. He's in the background being stealthy for the moment. But the whole gang there are pretty great. Like I'm impressed. I wish I had. I mean, because when did it start? Woos 2012.
Yeah, 2012.
I really wish I had something back then like that. I don't know if I would have gotten it, but I would have been more aware. I maybe would have been writing that because it's another outlet to write, and that's always a lot of fun. Because I was doing screenplays in high school. The only one that wasn't was I did a Godzilla spec script, which of course for me was Godzilla. Well, at the time the Matthew Broderick version came out. Yeah,
I did a spec. I do terrible spec trips too. Like sometimes you just gotta let go. It's like, this is terrible, but I'm gonna type.
Thank you. I feel like I had one or two really cool scenes in there. Like I completely annihilated Atlanta, and I don't know. Oh, I know why. I went to Atlanta and I was like, I know where everything is. That building looks cool, and I can destroy
I love
all.
traveling because you're like, yes, I know that street name. I know how that monument
exactly.
looks. It's gonna die.
Right. Well, there's one building in Atlanta, and I don't know if it's still there or not, but this is like 97, 98. It had a big gold spike in the center. So in the new movie, there's the three-headed monster. Yeah. If you've seen the trailer of it, I was like, I'm going to put him in there, and at one point, Godzilla's going to be wrestling him at the top. He's just going to take one of the heads and just slam it down on the spike. I was like, that would be wicked cool. And then so I felt like I had some, but the rest of the dialogue was really bad because I was like, I'm going to make the president a bad guy. That's never been done before. Oh. But I would do like not that stuff. I would do other scripts too, where like I was pining over this one girl and I turned it into a script and. I gave it to one person, and there was another person at their house, and they printed up and were reading it, and they're like giving me feedback. But then the other person saw it and took pages of it and passed it around the school.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that was really embarrassing.
I don't like sharing my spec trips because I feel like that. Like, have you ever watched The Office?
Oh yeah.
There's an episode where the guy was like, he's like a basketball player. He's like giving them his script to read, and they're just like, I don't want to be doing this. That's how I feel every time.
Yeah, I don't. It was weird. Well, so with that being said, because this is important, do you have a good support base in terms of critiques and feedback for your writing?
No, but I want more. Like, I love critiques. Like, I didn't understand what this was, especially when, like, people who are very good at English critique, because they always give me, like, ideas. Like, when my teacher was critiquing Play It Cool, they thought that Charles was, like, a ghost or something. Like basically a manifestation of Pippa's regret, and I was like, "That's a cool idea, though." But like, I can turn that and make it like an actual like a thing,
that is a cool idea. But like, that's not what I was going for. So that's a good note. Now, who was your mentor was Woos, right? But who was your national mentor? Because that's very exciting to me because I literally didn't know that until with the one with Tay, and so now I'm just like, who was your mentor nationally as well?
Yeah. I gotta think of the name. I just kind of mass sent out every like copy of the script. I was like, I don't.
No, that's cool. That's cool. So was that like one of the more interesting notes that you got, critiques you got about that, and how to funnel that in to Play It Cool, or?
I got a lot of good notes when I did the readings like in person, like when people like actually performed it. I feel like that was the best source of anything. Mm-hmm. And even with like just the rehearsal that happened like last week, that was very good because people were like, I didn't understand. Oh, okay, I get it now. This is how you want me to say this. This is how this is supposed to go down. This is what's happening with this line. Yeah. it was good.
That's awesome. So, but do you have anyone then that you give any of your work to? Like, I know you kind of said, you hinted that you might not, but like, again, that's spec script stuff. But do you, like, for your shorts or even your short story, like, do you give it to like one of your friends or something, and they just probably lock and key at your house or something because you don't want it getting out? But
the only person I currently actually will trust my script to is Miss Colleen, Squid Waffle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because she's just a beacon of hope and light and perfection. And she will give me so much encouragement where I'm just like, I'm probably Superman, like, let's be real here. But in terms of like critique and like, here's what you can do better, not yet. I need to like finish things better. Like, I'll always ask like, hey, what, if you were in this situation, what would you do? If for like people who I base characters off of. But like actual like review and edit, I'm not at that stage yet with my not terrible spec script.
No, that's fine. I mean, it's always interesting to, like, I mean, I'm in my mid-30s, and like probably about 2 years ago, I started being able to take critiques well. Like, what's the, like, what was what I wrote for? What is it for? Is it part of a larger show, like a sketch show or something? Well, does that further the show? And if it doesn't, then just cut it out. Like, now, like 2 years before that, though, I'd be like, oh God,
but there's always more opportunities.
Oh, right, exactly, 100%. So I would just say, please don't get discouraged. And it is weird to work through it, but when you work through it, it is absolutely amazing and a lot of fun because at the same time, it's also about how can I improve as a writer, and that's something else to take away from it. Yeah. It's always a lot of fun to hunker down on that and just okay. So something I've talked with all the young writers is, so obviously real life influences you heavily.
Yeah.
Is there anything, like any books, music, movies that you also like? Maybe like it helps you write. You're not taking from it or borrowing from it, but like it just
like having it on in the background or like thinking about it.
Exactly.
Yes. There's an artist named Mal Bloom who I listen to a lot. I'm really into like that, like folk punk. Wow. Folk punk. That's like polka and funk.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Folk punk. Oh, I could listen to some folk funk. I feel like
I would be interested to hear what it hears like. I mean, is it just pure accordion with a bong, 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 bong?
I think I could dig both, so I'm not even going to correct. I feel like I can dig both.
Yeah. If that's not a genre yet, people get on it. Sorry.
Like anti-folk, like I like music that's like, we're going to destroy the government and we're going to look good while doing it. I like Kimya Dawson. I like Aesop Rock.
Yeah. Wasn't Dawson part of the Moldy Peaches?
Yeah, Moldy Peaches, The Uncluded, and the Juno soundtrack, which is my go-to soundtrack for
Juno
anything.
Soundtrack is amazing.
It's so good.
Reitman in general, if you ever listen to any of his other soundtracks.
No, I haven't, but I need to.
Yeah, please do. I haven't seen 4th of July yet. I don't know what the soundtrack is. I know that takes place in the 60s or 70s or something, but so that's probably an older soundtrack. But like, he did the film Up in the Air with George Clooney. There's like 1 or 2 songs in there just like really good. And then he also did Thank You for Smoking, which the soundtrack for that is also really good. Like, he's not done a bad soundtrack. And I don't know if he gets it from his dad, because his dad produced Ghostbusters, and there's like, outside of the theme, there's like 1 or 2 good songs.
There's some bangers.
Yes, there are. So, man, yeah, Juno is amazing soundtrack. I like the, what's the one where they talk about the catcher? I think it's called The Catcher, right? It's Mike Piazza. And I had Mike Piazza. Who is he? Woo's like knows who he is. Who is that?
He's I don't know if he's in the Hall of Fame yet, but he will go. No, he is in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, he played for the Mets.
Okay.
He got him the World Series in 2000, and he's hit more home runs than any other catcher in baseball history. And yeah, he's one of the greats. So yeah, he started with the Dodgers, then he ended up going to the Mets in the late 90s. And when the Mets were good for a while there, it was because of him. So yeah, he's one of my favorite players. I have a Piazza shirt at home. I follow him on Instagram, and he's awesome.
So for those who don't know, Woos is a big Eagles fan and a Mets fan.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. So when you did like the fist bump thing quietly, I was just like, they're probably with the Mets.
Yes.
I love a good game of sports ball.
You love a good game of sports ball?
Yes.
So growing up, like music, I was more into music, but does the whole difference between jocks and artsy people, like of any kind, whether it be writing, music, choir, and band, does that still exist, or is it all?
No, the guy who's like one of the head of the football team at my school, Caleb, he was in Rent. He played Mark in Rent.
That's so cool. I wish it was like that back when I was growing up.
Rent. Like literally everyone who's involved in sports is like, I don't know whether I can do the musical this year or if I should do like basketball or something. Dang, like they're all so artsy, it's ridiculous.
And that's awesome because like, man, you didn't do that. Like the boys took choir, the jocks took choir to get out of class because they knew it was an easy A, and I.
Like all the cheerleaders, they're going to Bring It On at like the I think like Kappa or something.
I know.
Theater?
I don't know.
Well, they're doing Bring It On there, and those auditions at the school. But I couldn't audition because I'm in some of the plays at MadLab's, and I didn't know I got paid for it until I got the contract, and I was like, whoa.
Isn't that okay? Yes, that is. So I did a show, my first show there. I'm not going to say the name. It's not a bad name either. Anyway, sketchy. Right. Yeah. But that was the first time I've ever done theater since I was in high school. And legitimately, like, I found out much later, like, I was already doing it. I was like, oh, by the way, where do you want the money sent? And I was like, what?
Exactly. I was like, whoa.
I have it not framed. I have it put somewhere so I can frame it later, like, whatever it was. And because it was so cool. So, yes, that's, so I didn't know, what short are you acting in?
I'm acting in What a Girl Really Wants and How Many Names Can I Call You?
Oh, wow, you're in 2? That's awesome. Amazing. Congratulations.
So excited. Thank you.
Now, is that on Friday and Saturday, or just Friday night, or just Saturday
They're all
night?
on the same day. They're all on the same days, which is, like, they're on the same day as my show, too, so it's really nice and streamlined. I love it. It's perfect.
And I believe, so that means it's on Friday nights, I believe. We'll say for now, but here's the thing. We plug both nights, but...
Just come to all of them. Just come to every single show.
I agree. So, yeah, if there's, like, I think, is it 3 weeks, Woos?
Yes.
So if you can't make the second 2 Saturdays, you can see the last Saturday or vice versa with the Friday. So there's 3 chances to see both shows. There's plenty of time to watch the shows. That's awesome. Good job. Now, was that your first outside of school probably theater thing that you tried out for?
No, I played Alice from Alice in Wonderland at Out of the Box Community Theater.
Okay.
It was really fun. I was put in a dress made for like a 7-year-old because I'm like 5 foot and like maybe 90 pounds with rocks in my pocket, soaking wet, holding like 3 gallons of milk. Like I'm very tiny. So they were like, yeah, you can play Alice. And I had to talk like this for the conversation.
It is the Friday set of shows.
It is Friday set of shows. Okay.
And Play It Cool is the closer, so Jude will get to go around and watch the end.
Yay.
Watch his show.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Then I'm most excited to be, like, I love What a Girl Really Wants, but I'm most excited to be in How Many Names Can I Call You?
Which one? Okay, which one was that one? Because I don't... See, that's the thing. I remember what's in them, not the title per se, and that's what I feel bad about.
How Many Names Can I Call You is written by Mark, and it's about like a dystopian future, zombie apocalypse sort of situation with this guy named Ace, and he's like, I have a colony now. I'm like the leader of a colony, and his friends Lanes. It's not Lance, apparently. It's Lanes.
It's Lanes, okay.
And Lanes is like, yeah, but like you're like transgender, so you're like a freak. And then there's like Jack in the middle who's like,
Okay,
I play Ace.
Oh, you play Ace.
And I get to punch someone in the face.
Isn't that always a great feeling?
Exactly. I'm getting paid to punch someone in the face. I'm getting paid to punch a transphobe in the face.
I mean, that's so eloquently said. I can't, you know what I mean? Like that's very well said. Like not only are you getting paid to punch someone in the face, and they also happen to be a jerk.
Exactly.
So you can't get much better than that.
I'm so excited for that rehearsal. I just want to like let loose.
So you haven't had the first rehearsal with that yet, or no?
But I'm going to go absolutely feral.
You might want to talk over with your actor friend first, who plays the jerky punch.
At auditions, when I like grabbed his collar and pulled him towards me, and he was avoiding me after, and I was like, "Dude, what's wrong?" He was like, "I legitimately thought you were going to punch me," and I was like, "Oh."
It's like acting talent.
Acting.
Oh man. Okay, so what what do you want to do when you? This is such the cliche thing, but what do you want to do when you get older? Do you want to keep writing, or do you want to?
Yes.
Okay.
But I want it to be more like a side thing. I want to be an entomologist, which is the study of insects, because
Cool.
bugs are dying and the market's opening up. And I want a double major in public policy.
Okay.
Because I work at currently, which is a wellness center for HIV/AIDS prevention.
Oh,
and
wow.
with all the legislation being passed, things are just going downhill real fast.
They are
real fast.
They really are. So what got you into? If you don't mind me asking, because that's awesome.
As soon as the center opened, I was there because I got like a lot of commercials on Instagram. Like, it's a center for like gender nonconforming people of color, and I was like, that's just me though. Like, is there other people who are gender in Ohio, Ohio of all places? And there are, and they're all really amazing and wonderful. So that was nice.
That's also how long has that been around? Because I feel completely unknowledgeable of that, and it makes me sad.
2018. It just opened.
It just opened?
Yeah.
Is it downtown Columbus or is it
like Summit Street? Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Summit. I know where that's at.
Near-ish campus. I am a member of the Youth Advisory Committee. I think I just had a seizure, but we're going to just roll right past
It's okay.
that.
Keep chugging along. I'm with you. I do it all the time.
Like, I'm a member of the Youth Advisory Committee, so I try to like help them plan for the future. They do yoga on Wednesdays.
Oh, wow.
Very nice.
They do.
And they have Nutella. So sometimes I'll just go by there and I just get Nutella. And they're like, "Are you really eating Nutella with tortilla chips?" And I'm like, "I'm not a proud man. I never claimed to be a proud man."
I hate to be this person, but I don't get Nutella. Like, I've tried it. It's just not for me. And that's okay. But like, I want to hear from someone, because I never hear someone just goes, "Oh, I can eat it." I don't enjoy it per se. So the fact that you
put it in my mouth.
So no, I legitimately just want to hear from someone once in my life. Like, why do you enjoy Nutella?
I like hazelnut. I love hazelnut.
And it's chocolate and hazelnut.
Yeah, I love hazelnut coffee. Like, I will consume any hazelnut product.
You're like, you know what? You can keep your little PSL. Give me hazelnut. Give me a whole month of hazelnut. Well, it was a whole season of hazelnut. Yeah, it's like just dedicated to that. Forget your pumpkin spice latte.
No, I don't like pumpkin. I don't like gourds unless it's like spaghetti squash.
Okay. So Thanksgiving must be a huge bummer for you then, because everyone just has.
And I don't like whipped cream, so they're like, this is like a piece of pumpkin pie with whipped cream. I'm like, I can't eat this. This is inedible. I will Ramsay.
So when I was younger, I would just give me all the icing, give me all the whipped cream, and now I'm just like, we don't need any whipped cream. I'll just eat Now, granted, I can do pumpkin pie. But at the same time, like, I have one friend who just can't eat any fruit pie. It's baked fruit. He cannot do.
I love
I don't get it
baked
either.
Apples. Like, I know how to make like some real good baked apples.
I do too.
It's so easy and so delicious.
So everybody, this is now what we're talking about. I just want to be very clear, and I don't care. When you bake your apples, like, how do you do it now? Do you just peel the apple and not cut it in half?
I actually don't peel it. I just core it. Because the skin gets real soft, and then everything's like contained on the inside.
Okay.
I just make sure I take all the seeds and I core it, and then I put like, the cinnamon and everything inside, and then I just pop that baby in the oven.
Now, I find those to be really hard to cook that way, though. Like they have to. It's one of those things that's almost like a souffle. Like, because if not, one part's cooked, another part's cooked in the middle, or vice versa is not. Usually the bottom is cooked because that's what, like, you put water with it too?
Yeah, I put water in like the cord part, and so it like science.
Okay.
I know science.
So my grandmother has a recipe, and I absolutely love it. The only problem is it takes like 4 hours to cook. But you get a bag of apples. It's not just one. You get a bag of apples, and you peel them, and then you core it, and then you slice it in half. And then you put them in like the little glass container, baking plate.
The thing.
Yeah, the thing with the other thing. And then what I'll also do is, before I even get to this part, I'll get a bag of brown sugar and cinnamon and flour, and I'll just mix it in together.
Yeah.
And then what you do is you fill it up with a little water, and you spread it all over everything. And then for the next however many hours, you're like monitoring the apples. You're just like, you're birthing them in terms of like literally like. That's why I told my wife, I was like, when we get a house, I want a counter oven so I can bake apples if I want to. Because if not, like, you just feel like Johnny Bench just staring. That's an old people reference. Woo's got it. You're standing like Johnny Bench looking at the oven, and your back starts to hurt. And then you become that person who just pulls a chair over, and you just kind of sit
Oh
there.
no, I've been that person. I've got bad kyphoscoliosis. I've been that person in many. I'll pull over a stool to do the dishes. I don't care. I will.
You're
sit
my
down.
kind of person, man. I'm not kidding. You are awesome. Yeah, well, you're welcome. Then you just pretty much just keep doing that until they're baked. And I call it apple goop. It creates, because the flour, you also don't want it just to be in the apple. You want it to be outside of the apples.
Yeah.
And it creates like the goop filling. Like it's pretty much apple pie without the crust.
You can sprinkle, use ground. What's that thing called? A graham cracker, a ground sugar. Well, it's kind of. You just put it in a blender.
Yeah, you
put
could.
it on top.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Crumble.
You could totally do that. And if you also want to try this is another thing my grandma used to do, is fried noodles, which is very bad for you, though.
I feel like I can afford a few.
Well, good, because I don't. If you look at me, I'm running. I have like 1 or 2 heart attacks left, and I haven't had one yet. So, but it's close. It's close. No, it's okay. Legitimately, it takes like you cook the noodles. And it has to be egg noodles, so the thick egg noodles. Mm-hmm. And then meanwhile, while you're doing that, you're also taking a whole loaf of bread and you're tearing it up into little pieces and just frying them in the frying pan with butter.
Just straight up butter?
A lot of butter. And then you drain the noodles, put the bread with the noodles in a much larger frying pan and put lots more butter. And you just salt and pepper the heck out of it. And surprisingly, it goes really well with the apples. And I don't know why, but every time
it's probably like the level of like heaviness of that, and then like the sweetness of the apple. I watch Chopped on occasion, not to brag or anything, but
it's okay.
You know, I know food words like acidity.
Acidity.
Not to brag, but Gordon Ramsay would probably kill me. Like if he saw me, I don't know how to cook, he would like
eviscerate if you get a chance, a few things while I'm thinking of it. There's a show on YouTube called Hot Ones. It's where people eat chicken wings and somebody interviews them, and it goes from, on the Scoville scale, from, the Scoville scale is how hot the sauce is. It starts at like super low, like mild, and goes all the way up to the hottest sauce ever.
Oh.
And it's a slow buildup, and there are some people that have to tap out because it's too much, but there are other people that just go full tilt, like Charlize Theron did one for not the movie she did right now with Seth Rogen, but the one before that. And because she's from South Africa, spicy food is just like Indian culture. It's part of the culture there. So even before she came to States, she doesn't mind it. So literally she doesn't even break a sweat.
Honestly,
It's amazing.
The worst of both worlds. Like I have a high spice tolerance, my body does not. Like my body get into like one of those really like not a Reaper, but like the one below the California Reaper.
The North the Carolina Reaper is what it is. Is it just the Reaper pepper?
I think it was just
or the ghost pepper.
Yeah, okay, it was that. And I bit into it because
oh my gosh.
I was at a party, like a Jamaican ladies party. It's my mom's friend, like coworker.
Mm-hmm.
And I bit into it and I was like, it's fine. It's not even that hot. But I was like shaking and sweating. I was like, it's fine. I felt fine. But everyone's like, you're white as a sheet. Like, you are pale right now. And I was like shaking. I was like, it's fine, guys. I don't understand. And I went in the bathroom. I was like, oh, I'm a ghost.
Now, but my reason for bringing that up, though, is Gordon Ramsay did one. And it was a huge get for him because they've been doing it for 8 seasons. And Gordon Ramsay is hysterical. Yes. Another thing to throw out you, have you ever seen Everybody Loves Raymond?
I've heard, never seen.
Okay. I find it entertaining. It's not for everybody, but the guy who created the show, Phil Rosenthal, one of the things is about Raymond is that even if you don't care for it, it's a big about family and it's big about, and they're Italian. So Italians like to eat. And so one of the first things he did when he started making money doing that show, not Ray Romano, but the creator Phil Rosenthal, is he would start eating places. And he's like, oh my God, my parents had horrible taste in cooking. This is amazing. I love food now. And so literally he tours the world eating places, and they just got picked up for a 3rd season.
That's nice.
And bonus is, if you have seen Everybody Loves Raymond, you get to see the real people that Frank and Marie, Ray's parents, were based after. They end every episode with them Skype calling them. And sometimes the real Frank will walk in with no pants on.
Oh, wonderful. Love that.
Well, because that's the big joke is that, they would come over to his house and they're sitting in the living room and Frank has his pants down, not all the way down, but you can see his underwear. And you're just like, Dad, put it away. Oh,
oh Dad.
Yeah, Dad. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah, that was basically my dad. He was super comfortable at his own house, which, props to him, but I want to be Guy Fieri.
Guy Fieri.
I want to just.
That is an interesting.
I want to
okay.
just run places and eat at really weird grease traps and be like, he doesn't even give any commentary. He's like, it's good. is good, and he's still on.
What's the thing that he says? What's the thing that Guy Fieri says? He says something. He's like, he has like a thing. It's like, it's not bam. I thought he said something like, it's like a catchphrase. I can't think of it right now.
He says so many things. I tune out most of them.
So wait, you want to be Guy Fieri, but you tune him out. But yet you want to be. There's a level of respect that you want his lifestyle.
I want his hair, and I want his sunglasses, and I want his red car.
No, I do want.
If I could be a body snatcher, I would find Guy Fieri, and I would be Guy Fieri. I mean, he's living the ideal life.
He's living the best life, really. I can't think of what that is. It's going to really bug me. But
Blammo. That was my guess.
Blammo. I feel like that's what they did in Futurama, because the one guy that's like blam, they did blammo or whatever.
I'm always like weird watching Futurama because I watch Adventure Time a lot, and I'm very good at picking up voice actors.
Oh yeah.
Like my mom watches Lucifer, and like the person who plays like Azrael on Lucifer plays Ruby in Steven Universe, and I was like that. I ran out. I was like, "Are you watching Steven Universe without me?" Because we watch it together sometimes. She was like, "I'm watching Lucifer." I was like, "I gotta Google this because this is this," and I was like, "Oh, it's the same voice."
You are unintentionally voice chasing, and I find that to be awesome, because my wife will is like, I know who that is. What are you talking about? Like, that's that person in this week's episode of Ducktales. I know who that is. It's the guy from SNL. It's the character that you love, Launchpad McQuack. That's who that is. Yeah, the guy.
The person who played one of the fusions on Steven Universe played. Like the crack addict on Orange Is the New Black, and it was just surreal. I was just like, oh, whoa! You're in my mind. You're not this. You're not this. You shouldn't be here.
And now here's the thing too. You're catching people on shows that you watch, but then you'll hear other just general actual. And no, this is not a detriment to normal actors who are doing voice acting, like they do on-screen work and off-screen work.
Yeah.
Because to me, it is the same thing. It's just you have to act purely with your voice. And it's really hard.
Difficult.
It's very hard because you have to show all your emotion in your voice. And yeah, you can do whatever, but if it's not coming through in your voice, they're not going to be able to use that in the animation. You know what I mean? So but you start catching this is name's still kind of prevalent. Maurice LaMarche. Mm-hmm. He does he was the voice of the Brain from Pinky and the Brain.
Yes.
He does Morbo on Futurama. He does Clamps on Futurama.
Pinky and the Brain is Animaniacs in general. It's just right here.
Oh yeah, and they're coming back, by the way, on Hulu. On Hulu, yes. I feel good to tell people that.
I know the original series is on Hulu because I watch it whenever I'm sad.
Oh man, well that's a good show to watch when you're sad.
I relate a lot to Pinky, and I shouldn't, because my mom's like, "You're very smart," and I'm like, "But it's like left brain, right brain." I'm very smart, but I like my right brain is still very active, like the Bo Burnham song. Mm-hmm. Exactly like that. Which is interesting. I think they gave up on this at some point, but in the first season of Pinky and the Brain, they started doing a thing where they made a purpose to actually made it something on purpose that Brain was like, "Are you pondering when I'm pondering, Pinky?" "Oh, I think so, Brain, but where are we going to find rubber pants our size," or whatever. Later in the episode, they're talking about something has to do with rubber pants. And so it's actually he's smart enough that it's just snow ski, and then they're down a mountain, and you're like,
Right. And so he is actually answering the question that he would be asking later, but Pinky's off just a little bit, but he's not stupid.
He's just too advanced. He's just galaxy brain.
Honestly, yeah. And also there's the Christmas episode, which, have you seen the Christmas episode?
I have not.
It will break your heart. Oh. It's Pinky wants to get Brain something for Christmas, and the Brain wants to take over the world.
Oh.
And I will not want to ruin it for you, because it is on at Christmas time. My wife and I watched it, and my wife was just like, "This is depressing in a good way. It's so good."
I need a new ritual. Every holiday, I have a ritual. For New Year's, it's Spirited Away. For Halloween, it's Over the Garden Wall. I always have to have.
I really am trying to get into that so hard, and so my cousin, she's second year, third year of college. She told me about Gravity Falls.
Yeah.
And it's a weird age thing, and I hate that I do this, but I get very much like, "That looks stupid, and I don't want to do it because this is not." Actually, I become those guys from Anime Club a little bit. Like when SpongeBob came out, I was like, "Those are not my Nicktoons. My Nicktoons is Rugrats and Ren and Stimpy or whatever."
Oh, Ren and Stimpy is worth, and Ed, and Eddie, and
oh my God, yeah,
Billy and Mandy. But I'm sidetracking you. I will.
No, you're fine. Ed, and Eddie to me was the cutoff time on Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
Anything that came after like Billy and Mandy, like I I love the concept of Billy May, and now when I watch him, I'm like, this is a great show. I just dumped all over it for stupid reasons. And that's what I'm saying. So, like, in that same game, like, Fairly Odd Parents.
Oh, no, that show's stupid. I'm sorry.
No, I don't like the creator, and that makes me not like the work as much, but I would come home, I would be up until at least, like, 10 or 11, and they would have after, I wouldn't watch Bubble Guppies, dear God, because I'm just, you're just looking for something to watch, and then it would turn on Nickelodeon, and because they would have Fairly Odd Parents, and I was just like, nothing else is on. I'll watch it when I'm going to sleep.
It's definitely a nothing else is on show. Like, you'll watch it, but it's not like if something better is on Cartoon Network, the superior channel, then you go there. Like the order goes Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, Disney.
Yeah, I feel like the only thing that Disney has that's for me right now is Ducktales. Mm-hmm. And I mean, matter of fact, 3 of the last 6 episodes they've had in the last week have all been tearjerkers. Like, so speaking of the dog that says this is fine, so Donald has bad luck. That's kind of that's how he was in the comic books by Carl Barks. And so they do this running gag. So there's another A plot. That's the A plot. The B plot is the boy's mom, who's never been seen in media before, Della. She's on the moon trying to get back home. And then there's Donald. And Donald's just like, I'm losing my feathers. I'm going bald because my doctor says I'm stressed out a lot.
Yeah.
And so he has a prescription hammock, and he's just trying to sleep in it. And then one of the other characters, whether it be Scrooge, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, come in, and something goes horribly awry. He gets really badly hurt, like Wile E. Coyote style stuff.
Oh.
And like he gets like electrocuted. Like the Greek god Zeus comes down and electrocutes. They try to hit one of the boys, and it hits Donald. And the whole time he's just like, this is fine. Just need to get my prescription hammock. This is fine. Everything's fine. And because
down, take a nap.
Right. And everyone's just like, are you sure you're okay, Uncle Don? Everything's fine. I can't do him really well, at all, really.
And it's I can't do impersonations at all. They're terrible.
And so that happens 4 times in the episode. And at the end of the episode, Della makes her way back to Earth. Mm-hmm. They haven't seen each other for years. And Donald finally has a moment where he's just like, everything is not fine. I'm not handling things well. And so Scrooge is like, you do a lot for this family. I'm going to pay for a cruise. You just need you time. So he's waiting on the bus stop, and the ship crashes. And he goes, oh, my God, my sister's thing. So he goes at it. His sister's not in it. And because Donald has bad luck, he falls into the ship. The closes, and it shoots him right back up to the moon. And meanwhile, the episode ends with Della knocking on the front door of Scrooge, never seeing her boys since they were eggs. And then the next episode is just the boys meeting Della, and you only get like that's what I'm saying. It's so you're in. My wife's like,
it's like, this is a cartoon. He's making me.
I know, and of all things, it's Donald Duck of all things too, who. Right, and you're just like, oh my God, yeah. It's really interesting how I got my wife really into DuckTales.
Sometimes the things that are most comedic can be like the most tragic.
Oh, and that's the beauty in writing. Yeah, 100%.
I'm in this play, hopefully next fall, called The Boys Next Door.
Yeah,
and it's about like boys with mental handicap, and I want to play the main character Arnold because the guy likes me and says I'd be great at playing Arnold. So that's a plus.
Yeah,
and like there's a lot of like hidden gems in the thing, like where 2 people are dancing and like their dances become elegant and graceful because that's how they envision their dancing, or like Arnold has a fascination with Russia and he really wants to go to Russia, so he runs away to a bus stop because he really wants to go to Russia, and the caretaker Jack is like, baby, you can't go to, it's not on a, you can't, logistics. But like it's like the end of the show and he turns back and like the announcer is saying like, Moscow, places like that, and he's like, it's Russia, and it's like, for some reason, it just warms my heart. I don't even know why I'm crying, but I was, and I was like, dang.
See, I love stuff like that, where you're not expecting it to go that way. Like, if you had to ever ask me if I would be tearing up at like that, I would not say that. I just would not. I would just be like, no, this show's funny. And it reminds me of the old stuff. Not at all anything to do with that. Yeah. And I think that was the thing. My wife was just like, I never expected I would shed a tear for Donald Duck. And I was just like, yeah. You've missed a lot, Woos. There, we've got all into Donald. Yeah. Donald Duck. Yay, crying.
The show that I watched the most as a child, and I would probably put on for my future child.
Yeah.
Chowder. It's Chowder. It's because it's like,
I heard that is so
enough
good
for kids, but like the jokes that are for creative type people are there. Like, there's an episode where Chowder like sets the entire kitchen on fire, and like his caretaker's like, "Great, Chowder! Now the animators have to draw this fire." And I was like, as someone who's like, like very, I was like, "Heh." Like it's funny for both kids and adults for different reason, and it's good.
So that was another one of those shows where. Well, wait a minute. Which one's okay? Sorry, I have to think about it. Is Chowder the one where they make it's like a kitchen cooking show?
It's adorable,
okay.
And I love it.
So my only experience with that is they did a whole episode where they broke the fourth wall even further.
Yes.
Where they literally the end of the episode is all the voice actors doing a car wash to raise money for the rest of the season so they can finish the episode. And they're doing their characters, but it's just the voice actors. Like it's John DiMaggio Bender from Futurama. Yeah. He's one of the voices on Chowder. Tara Strong, she's one of the voices on there. And you're just like I'm just like, I know all these people. This is hysterical. Yes. And I know who all these people are. And do you ever watch, because it's fourth wall breaking, do you ever watch Teen Titans Go?
I have not.
I don't like the Teen Titans, but I like Teen Titans Go because they break the fourth wall. Matter of fact, the 200th episode was legitimately them sitting on the couch doing what they always do, and then they even point out, it's like, dude, we always sit here and talk about farts and eating waffles. And you're just like, what, okay. And it's kind of funny. And all of a sudden, everything just stops being animated except for them. And all of a sudden, it starts disappearing. And they go, oh my God, I think we're getting canceled. We need to, and this is our 200th episode. We got to do something. And so they break into the real world, meet their own voice actors, which is bizarre. And then they meet all the animators. And the whole episode ends with, it's a weird song called working on an episode, work. Working on an episode every day. Working on doing something for your 401k. Yeah, and then by the end of the episode, you just realize, yeah, Teen Titans aren't going away. We're going to make 200 more because we like the money. And you're just like, can't argue with that at all. It's really funny.
Yeah. I like shows like that. That's why I really like Gumball, actually, because like
Gumball's one. That's
like
the one with the
mixed
cats.
Media. Yeah, like the cat and the bunny and the fish. I haven't watched it in years. I need to because it's comforting.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just like they're mixed. Like all the characters have like a different art style or like are made from a different media.
Yeah.
Like one of the characters like a crumpled piece of paper. The other one's like claymation.
Yeah.
Clayton, and it's.
See, I haven't seen too many of those. I've seen one, and I've heard too. Like they do some serious family stuff in that show.
Yeah.
But it's
like,
still
one of the
very
funny.
funny.
Adopted, like.
Oh, is
Darwin,
it?
And there's like the dynamic where it's like, I feel like sometimes I'm not loved, and like there was episodes about that. And
man,
it was very good.
See, I love when shows can do that. So we've inceptioned ourselves, which is a ongoing thing here too. Initially, I was talking about Over the Garden Wall before we got down on whatever that whole thing was.
Oh yeah, Over the Garden Wall is serious and amazing and gorgeous and beautiful.
And see, I need to. One episode. That's the first episode I watched. The first two, because they're only like 5-10 minutes long, not even that. And then I watched the first two where they're just walking through the forest and the boy finds the wolf or the wolf is after them or something. They don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And then the beast, yeah. And it was really, it turned out to be a frog they thought for like a half second.
Yeah.
And then the younger kid took the frog with him and then I was just like, I don't know yet. And then someone sent me a link to another episode where it's like they go to a cornfield and there's like a weird pumpkin ball or something.
Enoch. Yeah.
And I was like, this is actually mildly entertaining, but I have no idea what's going on.
It's so it's like weird on purpose because like the thing is they're going through purgatory. They're like they like fell into a river and they're going through purgatory and they need to get out. Like they're dying, and it's like it's so spooky and like it's so spooky and like the young kid is just like persevere, and where it's like I'm a teenager, so I hate my life. So why would I even want to go through this anyway?
So my cousin, she told me for years Gravity Falls. This is how we got on this weird thing. She told me about Gravity Falls, and she's like, look, if you like shows like Lost and whatever, you're gonna love Gravity Falls. It looks like a kid show. It is not a kid show.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and I was just like, I don't like it. And then one day I watched it, and when I got to the episode where Dipper copies himself, it was like a good sci-fi thing. And it was sad too. It had like a nice little moment at the end because he did it for the girl. If you ship anyone in anything, I will always be like, I'm there. Because again, baggage from high school. He likes the older girl that doesn't really know he exists.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, I'm in this for sure. And then I went back and rewatched it all the way through, and I was like, this is one of the best shows ever. And then she's like, good, now your next course is over the garden wall, and I'm not there yet.
Take it a day. I do that too sometimes with media. And we're like, I don't know, I'm not used to it. I'm scared of trying new things. And I do it, and I'm like, oh
that is
my
what it
God.
is.
I love it.
Isn't that funny and weird though? Like it's all about trying new things and yeah.
But like, I love, my favorite character in Gravity Falls is Gideon, because I love Gideon with all of my soul, and he's my favorite. Like, I'm never taking that back. It's the truth. I love Gideon.
Gideon's cool. He's creepy, but I like Bill Cipher too.
Oh yeah. Bill Cipher is.
Would you like some deer teeth? Yeah. Oh my God, where did you get that from? It's just like, why?
I love all of the characters. Like, all the characters are so lovable and amazing and unique. Even the minor characters, like the guy who's like, they're all amazing.
Yeah. That is Will Forte, by the way. He used to write, I think, with one of the writers on That 70s Show.
Oh.
And they're just like, hey, that's totally Will Forte. And he literally almost every episode, it's just him in the background going, get him. And you're just like, what is going on?
But I love Gideon because he's just so. I relate a lot to him, and that's probably not a good thing. But like,
yeah, if you've seen Gravity Falls,
his dad is like, do you want to like clean your room? He's like, I can buy and sell you, old man. Like, I can really sing.
Oh God. Well,
when Stan's like, what, you got like a word a day calendar or something? Like, he's like, it's merged. I love him so much. He's amazing. He's my favorite. I think he's my favorite cartoon character. Like,
really?
Statement. I love Gideon.
Well, oh man. So I just gotta say, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. This has been a lot of fun. And is there anything else besides Young Riders, which we'll plug very heavily at the beginning of the show, during the intro, is there anything else you would like to throw out there? Just go throw it into the ether.
Keep yourselves happy and safe. Summer is approaching. Wear sunscreen, but not too much, because the sun is a carcinogen, and so is sunscreen. No one is safe. We're never safe.
Get out of here without cheese! You're a creep! Go away! We're having a good time until you showed up, cheapers! Go have some coffee with cream or something! Because I'll tell you something! This is a happy place!